Now I'm reading from the Memoir to 40, the autobiography of David Smith, Roy Smith. It's part 20, and it covers flight to India. Finally, in February, I flew to India. I was able to lie down in the back of the plane. The back of the plane had mostly Indians there. When I arrived, the hospitality of the local satsangs was exceptional. They had staff to pick me up at the airport. I stayed at the ashram. That was Kirpal Ashram in Vijayanagar in Delhi. It was February, so the weather was cool or pleasant, like 60 degrees Fahrenheit. You might only need a sweater. I was required to meditate like 6 hours a day. I ate fairly light because when you are meditating, that much food just got in the way. I lost some weight on the trip. I remember being like 170, 187 pounds when I arrived and 182 when I left. When the master gave me the blue sweater, which was tight on me, he hinted that I will have to watch my weight. Either a joke or a prediction of the future. Interestingly enough, as I am writing this on February 23, 2016, my weight is now 182 pounds. I met C.P. Bhatnagar. I told him I was interested in Satmat cosmology. We shared ideas about the books and the maps of the inner cosmos. I gave the master a copy of Leo Spitzer's book, Christian and Classical Ideas of World Harmony. And this book was written by a philologist who had gathered references to the Renaissance idea of music of the spheres throughout Europe in 5 languages. I later found another book on the same topic called The Tuning of the Sky by John Hollander. The book begins with the following quote from John Dryden, A Song for St. Cecilia's Day. As from the power of sacred lays, the spheres began to move, and sung the great Creator's praise to all the blessed above. So when the last and dreadful hour this crumbling pageant shall devour, the trumpet shall be heard on high. The dead shall live and the living die, the music shall untune the sky. That's from John Dryden. And these are the 2 books and the poem. I had all these books and I was hoping to someday update my thesis on the music of the spheres. Bernard Ross was there at the same time. Jim Mannion was there, Ruth Cedar and Joan Cedar in the photograph. With Joan Cedar, I have a Casio database watch. At the time of this writing, I still had this watch and it still ran. This is the way before cell phone. I like to put my contacts and passwords into the watch database. There's that watch and me in India. There's Joan Cedar, me, Joan Cedar, and Jim Mannion. Typically we meditated in the morning, then had lunch. The master gave darshan to the Indians at about 5 p.m. when the Westerners were called into the house in the evening about 8 o'clock. The master used to throw apples at us with his long swing of the arm on the weekend with special events like Kirpal's birthday celebration. The Satnam Sikh group would play Sikh kirtans. In the second week, I went out a bit on the streets with Joan Cedar. Her mother was a big player in the satsang, having edited the Kirpal's teachings books. We visited Sawan Ashram. I spent time at the ashram library. Valentine's Day was a special party. The master made it basically cosmically romantic from all the meditation and the day after day darshans. I was so blissed it seemed my attention was in my head, not my body. Most people on their first trip to India get jelly belly, which is a stomach infection or diarrhea. Luckily, I did not get it. I asked a question of the master about being able to drink 4 oceans of bliss and still wanting more. He gave me a life is short answer, and love is a secret. I got a continuous darshan the whole time, which I took as a life-inspiring glance. I was in bliss for at least 2 years after that. I started reading Rumi poetry and writing Rumi-like poetry just to express the bliss. The energy coming out of the master seemed as actually coming from God. This may have been part of the secret of secrets he was referring to. On one occasion, we moved into the dining room of the master's house. We were given drinks and snacks. There was a saying. He was saying things like, "Eat me and drink me." If looked at in hindsight, he was saying basically that life was short and we should hurry up. And his grace was reigning at a very high level. All his actions were appropriate for someone who knew the end might be near. I was especially lucky to get this life-inspiring glances and attention before he died in June of the same year. Who would have known while they were carefully planning his 1989 world tour that never happened? As we walked out of the dining room, Ruth Cedar grabbed the cup that the master was drinking and water out of it. She handed it to me and I drank it. And may also have been part of that ocean of bliss I drank, which lasted a lifetime. This is the question, actually. Date. It says February 10. Interesting that I guess I left on February 14th. The question is the February 10th, 1989. Kerbal Ashram. David Smith. Question. What is the meaning of the saying you should be able to drink 4 oceans of bliss and still have parched lips? Darshan Singh's answer. My son, spirituality is a path of restlessness. One of my verses says, love is another name for continuous restlessness, and I have brought this eternal gift of O Darshan. Love is a secret of secrets. It is known only to the lover and the beloved. Our life is very short, but our journey homeward is very long. Another of my verses, I started my journey at the morn of time, and now I am coming to the evening of time. The seeming lifetime of mine is a long journey of pining and longing. This is a strange path in that the more you get, the more you want. Another of my verses. I long for my beloved to come. My beloved has come and gone, and instead of quenching my thirst, he has intensified it. Love is a secret of secrets. You never let anyone know you are in love. Another verse. There is not that godly gift in which there is talk on every lip. This is not that godly gift in which there is talk on every lip. Love is a secret, and it is a secret in its entirety. This is a path in which you travel, and the more you get, the more you want. And you don't want anyone to know about it. If you get a glimpse of the Master, you are not satisfied with it. If you see the stars, you want the moon. If you see the moon, you want the sun. If you see a glimpse of the Master, you want to be lost in the Master. If you are lost in the Master, you want to be lost in God. You don't want to talk about it. You can have the maximum of grace, maximum of joy, maximum of tranquility and peace. Still you yearn and pine and long for more until you have reached your eternal God and become one with your Godhood. You are no longer yourself. End of part 20. Part 20. Reading from the Memoir to 40, which is really autobiography of David Smith. David R. Roy Smith. And that's Darshan Singh. That's the part on in India, first trip, 1989.